This happened in April 2018 in a house in North Carolina. My grandparents buy and rent houses. They found a nice house at a good price and bought it. A few days later, all our family went out to see the new place. It sits on a beautiful piece of land close to a lake. The house was nice, but it needed some painting and minor repairs. My grandmother said the workmen were coming the next day, but neither her or my grandfather could be there because he had a doctor's appointment the next morning. I volunteered to be there. It was already in the evening, and it was about a 30-minute drive from my house, so I said I would just stay all night there and greet the workmen in the morning. The house was fully furnished. The power and water were on, so I stayed with my dog, a German Shepherd named Max. It was around 7 p.m. when everyone left, so I was alone. I walked down to the lake and looked around the house for a little while, then finally went inside to settle down and read something before sleeping. Max was quiet and curled up on the couch with me as I read. Around 10 p.m., Max began to get restless. He would go into the kitchen and stare at the back door and whine a bit. This he did 3 times. I went in and looked around. I even went outside in the backyard, but nothing. Max did not come outside with me. He stayed inside the kitchen and waited for me to come in. After about half an hour of this, he settled back down, and we went to sleep on the couch. I woke up around 2 a.m. with that feeling that someone was watching me. Again I looked around, and nothing. Max was quiet, so I went back to sleep, just thinking it was because I was in a strange house. This happened twice more, but that was all, and everything was fine. The next morning, around 6 a.m., I was up. I had let Max outside and left the front door open for him. I was watching him from the window for a few minutes, then I went into the kitchen to get a glass of water. I was at the sink when it felt like something very cold was around me. Before I could turn around, it felt like I had been cut on the side of my neck, and it sounded like some weird, deep voice said, "Mine." I was in shock. I guess because I just stood still. Then I hear Max snarling and barking as he runs into the kitchen from the living room. I guess that snapped me out of it, and I turned around to look at him. His hair was standing up, his ears back, and his teeth bared, staring right where I was standing. After maybe 2 minutes of his straight barking, he ran toward the kitchen door, still barking. I ran to the door and jerked it open. Max ran out onto the back patio, still barking. I tried to calm him down, but he stood there staring into the trees, still barking wildly. After maybe 5 more minutes, he finally began to settle down. I leaned down and petted him, and led him back into the kitchen and locked the door. It was at this point that I remembered my neck, and it was hurting. I put my hand to the pain, and there was a lot of blood. I went into the living room and locked that door, then made my way into the bathroom to look at my neck. I hit a scratch on the right side of my neck, but half of the scratch was very deep. I cleaned it as best as I could. Then I went into the living room, gathered my things, and went out to my car with Max to wait on the workmen. They arrived around 7:30 a.m. I gave them the key and told them my grandparents would be there around noon and left. I have never went back to that house. 2 brothers rented the house on May 5th and moved out June 20th, saying that the house was weird. No one has rented it since. If anyone else has experienced anything, I do not know about it. My mother says she doesn't like the house because it feels dark.